Having an exceptional relationship with your spouse affects every single aspect of your life and is crucial for experiencing your dream life together. I'm Rob Murgatroyd.
And I'm Kim Murgatroyd. Listen in on our honest, filter-free conversations as we navigate life and business together without killing each other.
You'll learn by osmosis how to transform the friction you feel in your relationship into a purposeful foundation that will allow you to grow together.
Welcome to the Friday Podcast.
Kimberly, summer breeze makes me feel fine, knowing there's jasmine in my mind.
Why was jasmine in your mind? Was it the flower or the girl?
It was the flower, but now you're making a mental picture. And
Wait, why would jasmine be in his mind?
It's all I had.
Did you pull that out of 1962?
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Jasmine in My Mind with Rob and Kim Murgatroyd. You know what we're talking about today?
What?
We are talking about how the idea of setting a vision, a goal for 5 years is not really a good one.
A 5-year plan.
It's a 5-year plan. So I remember right where I was. I was walking in the mall and I was having a conversation with my friend Darren. And
you were walking in a mall with Darren? This just seems like the most unrealistic story ever. I don't think Darren's ever been in a mall.
I was on the phone.
Oh, you were walking. You were on the phone with it. That makes more sense. Okay. I'm with you now.
And so we were talking about the idea of, we would talk on Fridays because we set a goal. It's interesting context, not entirely important, but we set a goal one year that we were both chiropractors, and we set a goal that, this year we're going to take Fridays off. And then next year we're going to take Thursdays and Fridays off. And then the following year we're going to take Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays off. And that was like one of the things that we did to sort of like transition out. And we were talking about the idea of a 5-year plan. And every year we always had this like 5-year vision that the two of us, we're both Virgos, and Virgos seem to be very future oriented. And so we always had this like vision of what we were going to do. And then one year we both almost said at the same time, this game is fucking ridiculous because we keep talking about what we're doing in 5 years. And so many things change from year to year that where we thought we were, and then we kind of had this conversation of 5 years ago, where were we? 5 years ago, what did we think we were going to do? Everything changed. I mean, at that time of the phone call, Kim and I were traveling around the world shooting travel videos in between being a chiropractor. He was in the process of starting a company that would do spinal screenings for health fairs outside. And that's not the way we started as chiropractors, at all. That's not what we were doing.
And it's not where you are now.
Well, listen, that was 15, 20 years ago.
No, but I mean, it wasn't where you were 5 years later either.
No.
That's the point.
It kept changing.
It kept changing.
Well, every year, the 5-year plan changed. It wasn't even like you didn't even have to wait 5 years. In 1 year, it was different.
Well, think about this too, because we had Demi, right? And parents all, have their eye on 18 years old. They go off to college. They blah, blah, blah. You're an empty nester. And when Demi was 16, we got Sophia. That was definitely not in your 5-year plan. It was more like we'll be off gallivanting with ultimate freedom. And here's a baby.
Well, let me say this. So here's what I hope to do. I hope to convince you, or we hope to convince you, that throughout this podcast, we want to give you reasons to not tightly hold on to a 5-year vision plan, but loosely hold it in your mind, because there are elements. I mean, 20 years ago, Kim and I were making vision boards about living in Italy and living in California, and both of them came true. But the way those both happened were radically different.
Okay, pause. There's a difference between the why and the how. What people get tied to is the how they're going to make that happen. I think what you want in your life, the vision, we'd love to live in Italy. We'd love to have time freedom. We'd love to, the things you'd love to do. I think once you get in tuned with who you really are and what you really want versus what the ego wants or what you think you should want or what your neighbors want that you think is a good idea. Like once you get all of that bullshit out of the way and you get down and dirty with what you want, I don't think that changes much. It might modify, it might expand, it might shift. I think that's not where people get stuck. When people create a 5-year plan or a 5-year vision or whatever, it's typically the how. Yours was 10 offices in 10 years and, that would give you X number of dollars and da. The why at the end of the game plan there was to live half the year in California and half the year in Italy. That hasn't changed that much.
No, but you're right. It has changed how I was doing that and what I was doing there. Like we had a conversation this morning about how this sort of season, this next vision of our life is moving more into really one sentence, being writers in Tuscany. Like we really enjoy the idea of living in Tuscany and writing. And that wasn't something we talked about.
No,
we talked about Italy.
I think what I just said now, I'm like, it's landing on me a bit more is this is really the thing. Here's where you want to know where you're screwing up. All right. Everyone wants to know, like, what am I doing wrong? Here's what the majority of goal setting people do wrong. They focus on the how and not the why. No one sits down and creates a crystal clear idea of what they want in their life or what they want their life to look like. They have an idea rattling around the back of their head that they want time freedom and they want to be able to do what they want, but they don't know what that exactly is. So what do? They focus on the how because they're like, once I get the pile of money, I'll figure it out. Once I get the pile of money, I'll buy the house. I'll know what to do. Once I get the pile of money, that pile of money just keeps 3xing. It's another story for another day. But the goal setting, when is the last time you heard someone other than us and the people you coach and the people that we talk to and, through Patreon and stuff, when's the last time you heard a goal setting happening around not the journey, like not the how? Never. It was like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Except they don't know where they're going. It's kind of like getting in the car and going, let's just drive and let's figure out let's just go. We'll end up somewhere. So I think that's the problem.
How do you differentiate in your mind the difference between the what and the why as a vision?
The what and the why, the how and
no.
The what and the why.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean the what?
Well, as you were explaining the why, my brain was saying the what. So let me explain it just in case anybody else has this in their head. So when I think about like living in Italy, what I wanted was to be around Italian culture and have coffee in the morning and all the Italian dolce vitas, right? That was the what. There was a why too. The why I wanted it was I wanted our daughter to be around a certain environment. So I think focusing on the what you want, the why you want it, is what encapsulates the vision.
Yeah. I was using the why as in why you were doing the how, the journey.
I know,
like
but there's a lot of these submodalities, right? There's what, why, who, how, and when.
Yeah,
like I'm trying to make distinctions. But let's jump into 5 reasons why we think the 5-year plan is not a great idea. All right. First one is the unpredictability of life.
Like baby Sophia. Imagine having that 5-year plan.
Right.
We're almost out. Like Demi's, let's say she's 13 years old. And in 5 years, she's off to college. We're living the empty nester life. We can go where we want, do what we want. And then 3 years later, here you go. He's
there you go.
Baby.
I mean, look at Robert De Niro, right? He's 80 and he just that's a little fucked up because he has 0 chance. He will be 90 when the kid's 10. Like there's 0 chance of anything.
That's what fills his cup. So he'll never be an empty nester, but that's fine.
No,
he has Robert De Niro.
He's Robert De Niro. Health,
but circumstances change.
Circumstances change. Health issues, right? I mean, like, my back hurts. You know what I mean? Like I didn't anticipate like having like, back pain as I got older and, being a chiropractor, the irony of being a chiropractor and leaning over a chiropractic table with back pain makes you go, oh, it's one of the nails in the coffin,
Well,
right?
but that's interesting because there's a lot of people that are still saying, when I retire, we'll travel. When I retire, I'll do this, I'll do that. And so they're waiting for that golden payday of time and freedom, right? Where the retirement fund kicks in and where the time freedom is there, but you don't anticipate the fact that you can't walk more than 5 steps upstairs or anything else. So what are you really doing? And we see a lot of that. Like actually I hear a lot of it. Yeah, no, Robert, we can't come to Italy because, I'm not doing so good walking.
There's a reality.
There's a reality to that. So that unprecedented or unpredictable things that show up in your life. So you can make the plan, but then the universe gives you a baby or a health issue or a divorce,
a second baby,
a divorce.
Yeah,
like there's so many things.
You said that twice. You
divorce.
Is that 3 times now?
Divorce.
Okay. Is there something I need to be aware of? What's happening?
Divorce.
Because if you divorce me, I wouldn't be able to get home from where I live in Italy.
I'd have to unfollow you on Life 360.
Whatever agreement we made in the divorce, it would have to be that I could still contact you to tell me how to find my way home.
That we'd still live together.
That we would still live together. Yeah, me and your new husband, that we would still live together. Okay.
We'd have a compound.
Because who's going to make breakfast for me? I need somebody to do it because whoever I'm going to marry is not going to be as good as you.
Unpredictability.
Number 3.
Number 2.
Numero 2. Rapid technology changes. All right. So if I would have said to you ChatGPT, you would have said, God bless you, 2 years ago. It's 2 months ago, right? Now it is the thing that I use all day long. And for those of you that don't know what ChatGPT is, Google it and go type anything in. How do I grow an apple? And it will give you the most unbelievable information. So it's using AI technology. What's AI technology doing? It's rapidly changing jobs, taking jobs away. The world is changing because of AI. Nobody foresaw that in any scale at the level it is now.
One of our friends.
Is foresaw a word?
I don't know.
Foreseen. But you have to say had foreseen.
Foreseen, whatever.
Oh my God. What is happening with you, 16-year-old boy?
I know, it's a problem. Sorry.
What was the joke? We heard a good joke last night.
No,
it's a good joke.
I'm not retelling it. It's not my job. No.
I'm going to retell it.
No, you're not. I don't. Stop it. Basta. No.
What was the joke?
I'm not telling you.
Do you remember the one I'm talking about?
Absolutely know it, and I'm not going to repeat it. Okay, here we go. So let me.
Why do Jewish women like circumcised penises? Because they like 10% off. Come on. That's hysterical. Okay, go ahead. You started.
I did not.
Yes, you did.
I didn't tell jokes. I just make my own.
You triggered it.
All right. Anyway, so back to ChatGPT and 5-year plan. So we have a friend whose daughter has been studying in Florence for the last 4 or 5 months. And she's in college and she's now finishing up her junior year. She did this semester abroad. Next year, senior year. And we were asking her, what's the plan? And she said, when I began college, I was like, I'm going to be a journalist. I'm going to be a writer. And she's like, now it's just 3 years later. And that plan is slowly evaporating with things like ChatGPT, AI, and everything. And we talked about it. And she said, I'm not really sure where this is going to lead up. And I said, I think that if you're smart, instead of complaining ChatGPT took my job, or, the robot, the robot, it's really similar. The robot, you are like robot with that, all the checklists. Anyway, the robot took my job or whatever the thing is. You have to learn to work with it, right? And so I was talking to her and I was like, do you realize that you can create your own journalistic job? Like there's a woman, what is she called? The news girl on something like that on TikTok. She literally reports the news in the news reporter voice on her own through TikTok. And she's got millions of followers and God knows what comes of it. But my point is, if this 5-year plan, this girl started college, picked a major, and by the time she graduates, the job is evaporating. And so when I talk, it's funny because I talk to my friends about their kids in school and stuff like that. And everyone's so, they got to get the great education. They need 4 hours of homework and, they're all jacked up on all this stuff. And I'm like, do you understand that these children are 8? And in a decade, the jobs that are available today will not exist then. And the jobs that they're going to be going for are literally not even invented. So we need to set them up with more than like math facts and knowing how to grind it out. We need to set them up to learn how to use technology to their advantage, to use technology to do things, to have a creative spirit, to be able to problem solve and understand concepts and be creative, because I feel like we're opening this world that if a woman on TikTok can become a news reporter without getting hired by CBS, NBC, BBC, or whatever, like she can do it on her own and have more views than the nightly news. And so we're in a place right now where you can literally create anything. ChatGPT, outsourcing, like this is only going to get better and scarier, but better. You can have assistants that are AI assistants. You could run an entire PR company, most likely with just a handful of people instead of a ton of people. Yes, that's not great for work, but if you set yourself up with creativity and being able to really think through new ideas and be creative and problem solving, then the world is literally your oyster and you're getting all of the tools you need to be able to build something for yourself. And I think that's the blessing of these things. But my point is, in relation to the 5-year plan, ChatGPT has changed the world in 4 months, like what's going to happen in 10 years? What's that going to be like?
Yeah. And if you look at the reverse of it, like if you look at, Elon Musk, who just took over Twitter, right? He
actually just stepped down from Twitter today. Oh, he's stepping down. He's got a new CEO coming in 6 weeks.
That's fine. So,
I'm just telling you.
But the point is, he came in and I think he fired 30%, right?
Yeah.
And so they asked him, like, why did you fire 30%? He said, turns out you don't need it.
Yeah.
So he's leveraging, the irony is he's warning everybody against AI, but he's actually starting a new AI company. So a couple of things while you were talking that really stuck with me. One is when you talked about the reporter on TikTok, there's going to come a time where TikTok is no longer going to be the crowd favorite. And there's going to be Schmicktalk that's going to be the crowd favorite, and everybody's going to go there. So while you may have, vis-a-vis this 5-year plan, you may have the 5-year plan that I'm going to be the girl on TikTok. Well, TikTok may tomorrow evaporate, right? Look at Facebook. When was the last time you actually engaged deeply in Facebook? Never, right? But that's not what you did 10 years ago or 5 years ago, certainly. I just did a lecture at one of the colleges here on podcasting, on interviewing and podcasting.
You told me 5 years ago
exactly
you were going to be doing a lecture on podcasting at a
Florence University. Not a chance. Zero chance.
God.
But what was interesting, what came out of that was I asked them, what are your favorite podcasts? I went around the room. Every single podcast that they said, and I'm a guy that I consume podcasts, I create podcasts, I'm really into podcasts and have been, and most of my friends are podcasters. Like I am deep in this world. I didn't know a fucking one of them that they were talking about. I never.
And when you look them up, there's millions of
millions. They're in the top 6, and it's like call me daddy. I'm like I've never that's the number 1 podcast. Call me daddy among college. Like I can't even. This girl's got like a crazy deal with Spotify, and anyway, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. So you don't really know. Okay, number 3, career transition. Both ways, you will hit a point in your career where you go, enough is enough, basta, which means enough in Italian. I'm done with this. Or in the example I just gave with Twitter, where the boss may make that decision for you for bottom line, top line issues. So career changes are another really, really significant one.
Yeah, I think career changes sometimes, I remember, I'm not going to go into the situation, but I got fired. Do you remember this years ago? Before you and I were dating, I got fired from my job.
You really did nothing.
I truly did nothing, but I got fired from my job for things that I won't go into, for reasons I won't go into. But at that time, I had just bought a house. I had a car that was pretty expensive. I was like upside down in a car, you know, when you flip one car into the next and you have to carry over that payment or whatever.
I've had you upside down.
Oh my God. Robert, Victor, Anthony, stop it.
I'm just saying.
I don't like that.
I remember that.
I have this boundary.
Boundaries? Podcast boundaries? Do we have to save this for?
I literally
we have to save this for Patreon. Would this be okay in Patreon?
No.
Why not? They're paying good money
They're
for
not
this.
paying for our sex life.
Do you know what this will be? This will be like audio OnlyFans. We can be the first ones if you want. Here's the choice. We can either use like our feet or our hands on OnlyFans, and we can see if that brings anything. Or
our
we
feet
can,
or our hands.
Yeah, because
not both.
I feel like it's the only thing we can do that you won't be mad at. Or we can do something audio. Like, would that cross the line for you?
Yeah, I'm done.
I'm sorry. What were you saying?
I have no idea.
Okay, you were saying that you got fired. You
I
just bought
fired.
a new home.
I had bought a house. I had a car, blah, 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 all the things. And I remember getting fired and not knowing what I was going to do. Like, I remember being terrified in this random tiny town in Georgia. Like, I didn't know what I was going to do. But opportunities unfolded, and it ended up being better than where I was before. So I wouldn't have chosen to get fired, but I'm so grateful that I did because it led to a better situation.
All right, I'm going to skip to the next one and then we'll circle back because you did a perfect segue there to number 4, unforeseen opportunities arise. You're going to meet people. So for example, like you use the example of different things that came in your life as a result of that firing. Well, I had no interest at all in, I never taught. Actually, if you would have asked me if I have an interest in writing a book, I would have told you absolutely not. I have no desire to write a book. I don't have anything particular I want to say. And if you would have asked me if I'm doing a movie, I would have said, you think I'm Spielberg? Like that's for him. I am very interested now in writing a book and very interested in doing a movie. And the people that are appearing in my life are New York Times bestselling authors that happen to be close friends that live down the street.
Academy Award-winning
producers and, you know, Emmy-nominated blah, blah, blahs that are literally in our orbit, that it's almost like the universe is saying, hey, you got this idea for something. You got this spark that came to you. You know, hey, wouldn't it be cool to write a book about, you know, moving to Italy? Oh, let me introduce you to somebody who actually takes ideas and turns them into movies. Oh, you have an interest in the book? Oh, let me introduce you to a guy who's written a bunch of New York Times bestsellers, right? That can absolutely help you if you ask for his help. So there are these unforeseen opportunities that arise. Now, go ahead.
I was going to say, but here's the thing. If you are committed to the plan that you laid out and you created that 5-year plan, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and that's how I'm going to get there. And you have blinders on, you have horse blinders on, right? When those people arise, when those opportunities arise, you shove them away and you shove them away and you shove them away because you don't see them, because you're too overly committed to the plan that you decided. You're not listening to what could come through. You're not open to other possibilities coming through that would take you down a much faster road that you're supposed to be on.
Once again, Kimberly, you brought us right to exactly where we want to be, and we want to land this plane on limiting creativity. The last one, limiting creativity and spontaneity. So you can very, very easily limit opportunities and things that come to you because you say, no. This is what I'm doing. In my case, I'm going to open 10 chiropractic offices over the next 5 to 10 years, and I'm going to live off the interest. That's what I'm going to do. Oh, well, wait a minute. You were just telling me you had this idea for writing a book. No, I can't write the book. Why? Because I'm going to open 10. I want to focus on one thing and I'm opening 10. Yeah, but you feel this spark inside of you that you'd like to like write a book and maybe make a movie. No, I can't. I got this 5-year plan. I'm 2.5 years into it and I am going to finish. No, but hold on a second. You limit opportunity and creativity because you're focused and fixed, and the universe may be saying to you, go over there now. Okay. And this leads to the last one, which Kimberly didn't want me to talk about because it's very complicated, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. I love this idea. There's this guy, you're going to have to Google it, and I'm not going to do a great job of it, but there's this
Way
idea.
to set it up.
But I think it's important. So it's called the uncertainty principle, and it was created in 1927 by this guy Heisenberg. And really, what he says, it's a quantum mechanics principle. It's sort of like Newton. Bodies that stay in motion. That's blah blah blah. What this is, if you have the more precise you define a position, actually, the less certain you're going to be about where you are. And here's why. If you say, I'm here and this is where I want to go, okay, you start making momentum. As you start developing momentum, each point of momentum that you're in, you start shifting. You start going, oh, I need to go here. Oh, I need to go there. You will never wind up precisely where you said when you have a 5-year thing, because you're going to continually change based upon the momentum that's happening along the course of that path. So when you predefine it and go, this is a straight line, when the fuck has anything in your life ever been a straight line? It is an absolute zigzag. Oh my God, I met that person in the coffee shop. Oh my God, I read that book. Oh, I saw that TV show. Like we saw a television show once, Madam Secretary, where the woman is talking about stupid idea time. I mean, it's become our tagline.
It was like a one sentence random. No one would ever even have acknowledged it except we took it and ran with it. Right?
We took it and ran with it. So there's going to be a bunch of things.
All right. So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So you just told everybody don't make a 5-year plan. What should they do?
So yes, I told everybody to not make a 5-year plan. What I think they should do is I think they should decide a vision for what they want next. Okay. So in our case, the vision was we want to be living in Italy. We're walking along cobblestone streets and blah, 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 blah. We had a vision for it. That was what we wanted. Why did we want it? We wanted it because we wanted to be around La Dolce Vita and all things Italian. And we wanted Sophia to be going to school here. And we wanted to embrace art and culture and wine and creativity and being in this kind of environment. So that's the what and the why. But we did not say this is the 5-year plan for us to get there. So think about what's next for you. Now, with that said, you should be able to read that every morning. If you feel inspired when you read it, then you're on the right track. If you read it and you're starting to go, I don't know, it's starting to feel flat for me. Yeah. It's not like, let's say you write, I'm driving a brand new Ferrari and on the weekends I test drive it on the track. And you read it and you're like it's not lighting me up. Because when I think about the Ferrari, I think about all the work I got to do to get it. When I think about going on the test track, I'm like, oh God, like how much training do I have to do? And you start questioning it. That's not the right vision. And maybe that vision that you set for yourself was super exciting. Like, oh my God, I could feel myself sitting in that Ferrari. I could feel myself on the track. But then like 6 months into it, a year into it, something better came along. So always be tracking to that vision.
Well, this is exactly why we created the Ultimate Vision course. A lot of people think like, oh, well, I don't need a course. All I need to do is just figure out what I want. Okay. There is a real strategy to figuring out what you really want. It's not what you want. It's what you really want. It's the true, authentic thing inside you. And Rob and I, over the years, we did this wrong. We had the Ferrari on the board and we had the this on the board and the that on the board because we thought that's what we wanted. And once we really got serious about it and uncovered what we really wanted, that's when the momentum began to build. That's when it was. And so we created this ultimate vision course specifically for that. So the course walks you through figuring out what you want and gaining crystal clarity. Then it walks you through the steps that Rob takes to write the vision. What does that look like? What are the parameters of that? What is it supposed to be? Because it's not one sentence. It's not just, I want to live in Italy and eat pasta. Like, that's not a vision. So Rob walks you through exactly how to do that. Then we walk you through, what does it look like to create the vision board? I promise you it's not magazines and some glue and a poster board. That is not the way to do it. That is a bullshit thing that's going to fall behind your dresser and it's never going to manifest. It just isn't. So there's a strategy to that. And then I think the biggest component of this course is we give you our daily checklist of how we bring that vision into a reality and manifestation. Like, what do we do to manifest it? What are the processes we go through? What are the things we do to raise our vibration? What is the daily conversation we have that speaks it into existence? It goes through all of those things. And that's why we created the vision board course, right? And you can, if you're interested, you can find that in the show notes or on our social media.
Well, you made a distinction between two things. You said the Ultimate Vision course and the Vision Board course. Which one were you referring to?
The Ultimate Vision course, they're the same thing. It's one course.
Okay, so because we're going to link it up in the show notes, what should they see in the show notes?
They'll see the Ultimate Vision course. That's what it's called, because it's not, initially we called it a vision board course, but it's so much more than that. A vision board is one component of the course. You'll end the course with super clarity on what you want. You'll have a written vision, you'll have a vision board, and you'll have a manifestation guide to guide you through it. So it's so much more than a vision board. So that's why I renamed it the Ultimate Vision course.
All right. I like the rebrand.
Yeah. So that's that. So and I'm not saying this to pitch you the course. I'm saying this because this is the literal most important fucking thing you can do is get clarity on your vision. And it's not like you know what? We have a code for it. It's Friday 25, and it gives you 25% off the course. Just go get the goddamn course and get started on your vision today, because we have turned our vision into a reality multiple times. We know what we're talking about, and there are many steps to this that you don't want to miss. And it's important. If you truly want to change your life, it's the first step. So don't come at me and say, I don't even know where to start. I'm telling you where to start. This is where you start. You start with clarity. You don't start with how. You don't start with what should my Instagram handle name be? What should my website look like? You don't start with any of that shit. That's the how. You need to know what you want. So start with what you want. I'm giving you the starting point. Have I said I'm giving you the starting point? I'm giving you the starting point. So don't do the 5-year plan. Create the vision for what's next and get our course to do it.
Preach it, girl. I'm going to leave it right there.
Boom.
Boom. That's it, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Hey, everybody, if you've ever thought about coming to hang out with Kim and I on one of our next Rob and Kim Italia events and you want to learn more, just click the Rob and Kim Italia link in the show notes and add your name and email, and we'll send you all the details as soon as they're available. We are obsessed with this country and how it affects you, and we want to share that magic of culture, food, wine, art, architecture, and some secret magic moments that we've cooked up with you. So be sure to add your name, because these events sell out quickly.